Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. This is Danelle here at Networkchain, and today we're going to talk about the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, crypto airdrop in history, at least on the Solana blockchain, which as we know is a top 10 blockchain. And then we're also going to go over the crypto market update as we normally do. So let's go ahead and start off with that. We're going to run into a few other things as well, but let's go ahead and look at what's going on currently with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently trading at $42,661. It stayed basically flat over the last 7 days. It got up to above 43,000 for a moment earlier this week, or last week, I should say, and now it's back just under 43,000 at that 42.6 range. Ethereum still staying steady in that $2,100 to $2,300 range. It's currently trading at $2,292, and it is pretty much flat over the last 7 days. It is up 0.88%. We have Solana. It, I believe, went up and over above $100 for a moment earlier last week, and now it's settled back down to that $96 range, currently trading at $96. It's down 1.5% from last week. Then we have XRP currently trading at around 50 cents. It's kind of been there for a long time as well. A little bit up and down, but mostly staying in that 50-cent range. Then we have Cardano, Avalanche, and Dogecoin rounding out the top 10. So we mentioned Jupiter. Jupiter was probably the biggest airdrop potentially in history, but definitely on the Solana blockchain. Jupiter is the native token of the Jupiter decentralized exchange. We talked about it a little bit last week when they had their Win airdrop, which was basically a meme coin that they used to test the system to see how well the decentralized exchange would do, knowing that Jupiter, and there was a lot of hype and demand that seemed to be out there for the Jupiter token. And as we see here, that's why you always have to be very careful and try to understand kind of some of the patterns that happen when it comes to cryptocurrencies, especially when a cryptocurrency comes out with a bang and a lot of interest and a lot of hype, because a lot of times people are going to sell the news, or as soon as they get potentially an airdrop, they're going to likely sell at least a portion, if not all of that airdrop immediately, so they can go ahead and redeem those funds. So you can see here, it looks like the price for just a quick second went up to $1.27. Unfortunate for that person or those group of people who spent that amount of money, but people are saying and speculating that at some point they believe Jupiter will get to much higher than $1.27. Particularly, they look at another very popular decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain, which is called Uniswap. And when you compare the diluted market caps, people are speculating that there's a possibility that Jupiter could get upwards of anywhere from $3 to $5 and maybe even more, depending on if we go on this bull run after the Bitcoin halving, which is supposed to be happening sometime in April or May. And we've talked about that. So feel free to go back and look at some of our videos regarding the Bitcoin halving and what that means for the entire cryptocurrency market. And let's go ahead and check on Win, because we talked about that a lot last week. And as we see here, this chart doesn't look beautiful because there were some people, for whatever reason, it looked like they spent upwards of $200 and something. I don't know if that is an error or not, but it looks like there may have been someone or a few people that may have paid $231 mistakenly for this coin. But as you can see here, it is fractions and fractions and fractions of a penny. So if we look here, that it's kind of been on a steady decline over the past week, down 66%. So a lot of people went ahead and sold those Win tokens when they received them as an airdrop. Now, people who got Win are people who have used the Jupiter exchange fairly recently, but if you use the Jupiter exchange prior to November and did volume on the exchange, the decentralized exchange, then you qualified for the Jupiter airdrop. If it was after the November, I believe it was 9th, somewhere around there, time frame when they took the snapshot, which is when they take a snapshot of all the wallets that have used the Jupiter blockchain, the Jupiter exchange, then you still have time and an opportunity to qualify for their airdrop in 2025. From my understanding, they will have 4 tranches of airdrops for the next few years. So 2023 has now passed last week, and then they should be having one next January, and 2025. So those of you who are interested in learning more about airdrops and using decentralized exchanges, we have used Jupiter Exchange, and it is very smooth, very easy. It's basically only Solana blockchain coins for the most part that you can trade in and out of and swap in and out of, but they also have abilities to bridge tokens from one blockchain to another, mostly with Ethereum and any layer 2 Ethereum blockchains. You can also bridge using the Jupiter decentralized exchange. So definitely be careful, particularly when you're using any type of a decentralized exchange, because you are using your hot wallet to connect to these exchanges. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about how to connect your hot wallet to a decentralized exchange and a walkthrough on how to use it, please let us know. Leave a comment below and we'll definitely look into providing that information for you. So as we go into learning a little bit more about what's continuing to happen with regards to demand and what the future could potentially hold for cryptocurrency, especially people are really looking forward to this Bitcoin halving. We already had a huge deluge of funds that have been coming into the Bitcoin space, particularly from the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And as we can see here, over the last 16 days of volume, we see a total of $30 billion that has been traded back and forth going into these Bitcoin ETFs. And then if you take out GBTC, which we talked about is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, a lot of people are taking their funds out of Grayscale because they were able to take advantage of the discount that it was trading at before the ETFs were approved. And then also the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, an ETF, is now trading, or excuse me, are having higher fees than a lot of the core 9 that are left that are currently trading on the open market. Some almost 7 to 8 times higher than its counterpart. So a lot of people are looking to get out of Grayscale and get into some of the other Bitcoin ETFs, but we can see that there's still a ton of volume coming out of Grayscale. They are the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, and there's a lot of funds that have been invested into GBTC. It was over 26 billion at the time when the ETFs were approved. So there is still a lot of outflow, but despite all of that, we are seeing a positive net flow overall that has been coming into the ETFs, and they are buying Bitcoin. They have to buy Bitcoin. They have to have the underlying asset. So we are seeing that the demand is there. So that's taking supply away from people like you and me to buy Bitcoin. So if you're very interested in learning about store of value and an alternative store of value outside of gold and outside of holding fiat currency, which because of inflation is losing its purchasing power, Bitcoin is something that you may want to consider. And if you do, because it's hard money, it's a finite supply. And because we're seeing these institutions and there are other companies that are looking potentially to invest in Bitcoin, the time would be now to look into it, because the demand is getting higher and the supply is finite. And the amount that is being mined, which is the Bitcoin halving, is going to be cut in half, as we mentioned earlier, in around April or May of this year, 2024. We talked about Jupiter. This is the official page, and you can go and do your research and check that out to make sure that we are giving you the correct information. But lfg.jup.ag is the site that you go to if you qualify for the Jupiter airdrop, and you can connect once you hit this, yes, me brave cat. You will be able to connect one of your wallets, whether it be Phantom or Solflare. These are Solana based hot wallets, and then there's other wallets that you can potentially use and connect as well, including Coinbase wallet. So if you don't know anything about that, we definitely can teach you a little bit more about the hot wallets, and we do have a tutorial on MetaMask, which is an Ethereum based hot wallet that we have in our library, so feel free to check that out. So before we go, we just want to mention NFTs. We haven't talked too much about NFTs lately, but we definitely will be bringing that back shortly. But just so you can see the NFT market, even though it's still very much down from where it was before, we are still seeing lots of sales in NFTs, and we're seeing a lot of other blockchains that are starting to see a lot of volume in terms of people interested in buying NFTs on other blockchains, particularly ones that are scalable and faster and cheaper than Ethereum. But no matter what, right now most people still consider CryptoPunks as the grail NFT. And as you can see here, one of the top collectible sales over the past 7 days was a CryptoPunk that sold for $1.5 million. So one thing, if you go back to look at some of our older videos from earlier last year, if you looked at the top 10, you mostly saw Ethereum project NFTs, but now we're starting to see a lot more diversity when it comes to the different types of cryptocurrencies that are being represented in the NFT space. We have Bitcoin ordinals, which are doing extremely well, and you see uncategorized ordinals. That's just just ordinals in general, which are Bitcoin NFTs, have done sales of over $13 million just in the last 7 days. You see Avalanche. I'm not familiar with Dokio, but you see that there are a lot of different chains that are represented here in the top 10. You have Avalanche, Bitcoin, Solana, of course, Ethereum. You have Immutable X, which is a layer 2 on top of Ethereum. They're known for a lot of their gaming type NFTs. And then, of course, we still have something like the Mutant Ape Yacht Club and Bored Ape Yacht Club that continues to churn out volume, even though they're much lower than what they were trading at their all-time highs. People are still very interested in getting into these NFTs, and Mad Lads is one of the top NFTs in the Solana space. So we look forward to linking up with you on the network chain. Of course, in the meantime, you can always check us out on IG. We post there nearly every day, as well as here on X. So we look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much for your support. Take care. Till next time. Bye-bye.